It is the Coach's Show. I'm Dennis Davis, Jamie Ulrey, also Coach Yarborough with the Carolina Havoc.
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank
We're
you for having
good,
me.
Coach. So excited to have you here and be our
Yes,
first
ma'am.
Coach's Show.
I appreciate it.
This
Appreciate
is
you guys.
with this being the very first Coach's Show, and this is Coach Yarborough's show.
It is.
Really, I think it's appropriate that we start with Coach Yarborough. Tell us about yourself. For those that are just now tuning in, discovering the Carolina Havoc, discovering Coach Yarborough, take us through that journey of how you got to become the coach of the Carolina Havoc.
Well, I was a player first with the Havoc last year, which was the first year of the organization. We won the championship last year in the AAL. We're the defending champions, of course. But I actually intended to come back to play this year, but our head coach, Joshua Resignalo, resigned and took a position that got a higher paid position with the Carolina Cobras in the NAL. So I was just like, shoot, I'm 35 years old. What's wrong? I might as well put my name in the hat to see if I get the job. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I'll just play.
There you go.
So they called me one day while I was at work. I do disaster relief work. So they called me one day and was like, hey, you're in the running in the final two for the job. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And then, they called me the next day. I did an over-the-phone interview. Well, second over-the-phone interview, and I got the job. And, I just gladly accepted.
I love that. And he's a native, so you're from Darlington, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
That's
Darlington.
fantastic.
I was going to say, I was going through your resume. Your resume is pretty impressive. Had great success playing locally at Darlington. And then I saw that you were briefly with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I was just in training camp for 3 weeks. Just it.
That's
Nothing.
Oh,
Right.
he's like, I was only in the top 1% of football players on planet
right.
Earth for like
Right,
3
right.
weeks. That's fine.
Yes.
And then you also played at USC?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Yes, ma'am.
right. So, yeah, we definitely got some good football heritage here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I was going to say, and you're 35. You're probably able to still play. You've then migrated to the coaching role.
Yes, sir.
How has that adjustment been for you?
I mean, it's not too tough, but just the front office stuff is not what I wasn't too used to it, but I've gotten used to it over the last couple of months and rolling around pretty good, pretty well.
So you're now coaching some of the players that you played with last year, having
Yes,
the
yes.
winning season. So how has that transition been?
At the end of the day, we're still friends, so we had that kind of established like that player-coach relationship
Right.
instead of just a locker room buddy relationship, So
And then all of a sudden you're the boss. So
Right,
we
right,
know that
right.
one.
Absolutely.
Would you say that your transition to coaching is easier than what most coaches go through that just get into coaching because you've actually been there? You've played
Right.
and you had success at playing it, and it went so well that now you're coaching. There's some guys that go in they just hold a clipboard their whole lives
Right.
and not really take any snaps or do any plays.
Right.
You've actually played the game and you understand both sides of the coin. Would you say that your experience as being a coach is easier than most? Take us through that.
I would like to think so because, I have that, that insight that most coaches wouldn't because, like you said, most of them just hold a clipboard all their life, and I actually played. So I know what players are looking for, what they expect. So when it comes to recruiting the better players, I feel I have a heads up because I know how to approach those guys. I know what they need. I know what they want. And, I feel as if, I'm still one of those guys and I put them first. So.
I like that. Well, and the changeover from a high school football to college football, NFL to AFL is a completely different style of game.
Absolutely.
How have you developed, not only as a player and now a coach, into that change of format?
I've always been a student of the game. I've always loved football, so I've always studied. Like right now, I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching film a lot, and just the transition, the difference between arena football and outdoor football. I mean, at the end of the day, football is still football.
Right.
See ball, get ball, see ball, catch ball, throw the ball. But the rules are a little different. Like just say for linebackers, there's a 7-yard box. You can't go outside of the tackles, can't drop any deeper than 7. But outside, you have free reign to do whatever you choose. So it's just in the understanding of the rules. the playing surface is a little bit different. Playing arenas on artificial turf, and the field size is a little bit different. It's 50 by 32, so it's a little different. So we get it done.
We were talking earlier how you guys grabbed the championship trophy last season. That's got to be a huge prestigious honor to come off a championship year, and then that championship success, you're bringing it to Florence. I was going to ask, how does that change the way you do business as a head coach here in Florence? I mean, do you feel like you're starting all over again, or do you say, hey, this is a championship team, and this is what we did to win? Take us through how the championship for last season and the pressures that you might feel from that transcended this season.
Well, I mean, I've been blessed last season, and now one of my mentors, Coach Joshua Rexignalo, the guy who had the job before me.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, great guy.
Throw that out there for him.
Great guy. He's a great mentor of mine. He taught me a lot. I've learned a lot from him, and then I'm actually coaching with. I have the opportunity to coach with probably one of the greatest coaches in arena football, in my opinion, in Charles Gunners, and he's been a great, great help to me, and he's helped me out with a lot of the front office stuff that I didn't understand, and newer things, and and just being a coach, the difference in being a player. But the mentality that I brought from Atlanta was I played with some great guys, Ryan McDaniels, the Alexander Colemans, the Martell Morris, the Thyron Lewises. I mean, great, great football players, probably some of the better football players that I've seen ever on any level. So they made it easy for us in Atlanta. And I try to bring that kind of hard hat mentality to Florence, and bring, recruit that top tier talent, just like those guys, like we brought Martell Moore, Thyron Lewis, and Alexander Coleman back here. So they're here in the receiving corps. So, and we have a great addition of Rashad Carter. He's a great football player. As a matter of fact, he was in camp with the Baltimore Ravens as well.
Right.
So he's a great, great addition as well. So just a hard hat mentality. We go to work hard every day. We practice 3-4 hours a day. We get it in. We do really good.
That's
we get
fantastic. It in. Well, one of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, Dennis, was how AAL, AFL, how it has actually developed a lot of great people that people don't realize. When you look at a Kurt Warner, right? And then you look at a Tommy Maddox, right?
Absolutely.
He was NFL player, stepped out, stepped into AAL, AFL, and then went back to the Steelers to win a ring.
Right.
Okay, that's the quality of players that are going to be, playing when we see the Carolina Havoc. This is what I'm excited about. Then you look at, for you, for example, do you aspire to be a Matt Nagy? He's coaching the Chicago Bears.
Absolutely.
And he played 02 to 08. So,
right.
There's a lot of players that transition either to or from and utilize this arena football, utilize it this way to get into the game and just really hone their skills.
Right, as a stepping stone. Absolutely.
Right.
This is the way, because I've never been a head coach before. Only in the high school level, I've been a defensive coordinator and a, position coach, so I've never been a head coach before. So this is new to me, and it's a great stepping stone. I have great people around me, Steve, our owner, Chris, great people around us that are helping me.
That's fantastic.
So with that in mind, I was going to ask you, you've been with the players on the field. You've put them through the toughest practices. With that in mind, can you take us through, who would you say are some of the rising stars that the fans would probably really enjoy to see on the field with the Havoc?
We have a lot of exciting players. Okay. We have a lot. Our quarterback, Darryl Clark, played at Penn State. Great guy, great football player. As a matter of fact, he was a Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year at one point. We have, like I stated, we have Rashad Carter, we have Thyron Lewis, Martell Moore, Alexander Coleman, and we have a young guy, Trevante Long, is a wide receiver out of Shaw University. Fans, look out for him. He's going to be really special. We're going to hear about him.
That's exciting. So talk about the fan experience. If you've never gone to an arena football game, talk about what our fans saw Friday night and what they're going to see in the future as part of the hype in the game and the excitement.
I think the fans love it because it's a more fan interactive game. They're right there. The fans can literally reach out and touch the players as they're on the field, and there's no other game like that. So I think that's what the fans they love the most. It's really nice. It's neat. It
is an exciting game. You and I talk about it.
Right. That's something I was going to ask you, Coach. As far as watching the Havoc play, it's arena football. So if you're used to watching like maybe high school, college, NFL football, and then you watch arena football, watching it last night, for instance, it felt like a faster game. It was noticeably faster. At least it felt that way. Coach, can you take us through, like, as far as like a fan experience goes? What are some of the things that we might not see as like the obvious benefits to arena football? Like, what are some of the pros to this?
The pros, I mean, it's a faster. I think it's a faster, more physical football game. Really high scoring. Get scores like 80,
Right,
90s.
high scores, yeah.
It's very, very high scoring. You don't see that in the NFL. The scores are more so like the 30, average around 35. 28 points. So the game is a lot more high scoring. A lot more physical. You see the fans. I mean, the fans get to interact. The players getting hit into the wall, pushed over the wall, things like that. That's great stuff.
That's great.
And that's what I was building up to with those high-scoring games that you oftentimes see in arena football. Is that a testament to just really good offense, or are there just some restrictions on defense that makes it more challenging to have lower scores? What does that mean when we see higher scores in arena football?
In my opinion, I think I think the game of arena football is built for the defense to fail. It is. Like the rules, there's a lot of restrictions for the defense, and you have a high motion guy. That's the receiver that has basically like a 10-yard head start. It's really hard to defend him, and so it's built for the offense to score a good bit.
That's good.
So with being in Florence for your first season, I was going to ask, what has it been like as far as the reaction within the community? Like, how has the community received you guys?
Oh man, it's nothing but love. Nothing but love. And me being from the area, I love to see it. Just giving something back to, I just love giving something back to a community that gave so much to me.
Right.
So, it's just great to give them something back positive and, same token.
So we're getting great fan experience. People are loving coming out. Loved last night's game. I know that it's just going to continue to grow. What else can we provide and do to keep that fan experience going? I know that's a strange question, isn't it?
You guys keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job of standing behind us and backing us up 100%. And we have to continue to do a really good job of getting out to the community. Just letting our presence be felt in a positive manner, letting people know that we're not going to be only here for a year or two. We're going to be here for the mainstay for a long time.
I think it's a great point, because that's one of the things, as we were developing this team and you guys came into the scene last year in August, was that conversation about teams that have come and gone. And, I can say by working hand to hand with everybody, as you have, Dennis, is that your guys' commitment is not a one and done.
Right.
You guys are committed to the community. You're committed to growth. You're committed to this area. And so I'm super excited to have you guys on for a long period of time with us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I was going to talk about last night's game with last night's game. I was going to ask, as far as the practices went leading up to last night's game, what was it that you guys did to prepare for last night?
We had to work really, really hard. Coach McKinney from the Cape for Heroes, he's a really good guy, great football mind. He was actually on the coaching staff with us last year in Atlanta, so I knew he brought a lot to the table. So we really had to step our game up and, game plan extra hard especially for the offense, because he's an offensive guy. So we knew we had to defend really well to win that game.
So take us into a practice session with the players on the field as Havoc gets ready for a game. Like, do you have like any catchphrases? You know how some coaches they get real intense. Like, take us through your coaching style. I want to feel like a player on the field for you. Take us through that.
Yes, yell at him like a player.
Well,
please.
I'm not really that loud. I'm not a loud guy. I'm kind of lead by example type guy.
Okay.
Quiet, because I don't feel like you have to do that to get your point across. I feel like when you lead by example and people see the way you work and the way you operate, they tend to follow a lot better. You get, like my grandmother always used to say, you get a lot more bees with honey than you do with vinegar.
So it sounds like he's almost like the Dick Vermeil coach style of this of arena football. He coaches with love, is what it sounds like.
There you go. So practicing different though, because you did Ravens, camp. So what is the difference physically in a warm-up, in a practice, NFL versus what you're doing now?
Oh, no different.
No
Different at all. We put our guys through the same type intensive workouts.
That's fantastic.
And practice schedules. There's no difference.
That's good. So how many hours a week do you guys practice?
We practice around 16 hours a week.
Wow. I think that we should put Dennis on the field one time. What do you think?
Absolutely. Come
Yeah.
out, catch a couple routes.
I can do that.
Absolutely.
I think that would be great.
I'll be the one position that nobody will mess with. I'll be the long snapper.
Fantastic.
Now, I was going to ask too, how competitive are the players with the Havoc within practice? I mean, do you have guys that are really still fighting for that starting spot? Like, do you have any players that are on the verge of stealing a starting spot? Like, how competitive is it in practice?
It's very competitive. Every day you have to come to work. We have hard-working, hard-hat guys at every level, at every position. Like I said, the Trevante Long kid, he's surprised a lot of people. So, guys better be on the watch for him for a while. We have guys on the defensive side of the ball like Vaughn Cross from Methodist University. He's a smaller school guy, but he can play with the best of them. Then you have Christian Russell from Ole Miss. We have Terrence Warren. A lot of good football players.
Well, you're naming some major college football organizations that these players are coming from. How do you not get excited about that?
I'm very excited.
I mean, you're talking Penn State, Ole Miss. I mean, you're talking some heavy-hitting college football players. So just the idea that they're here in Florence playing for our team, I'm pretty stoked. I'm a football fan. I think you might be able to tell.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm excited just because I'm going to be able to see all these players develop and grow and do all of that kind of stuff. So
I
I'm
hope
sure
you guys
are
are
the same
Gamecock
way.
fans, right?
No comment.
What?
I got to be honest, I'm a Wolfpack guy.
I'm from Tennessee,
Well-
so it's go Vols for me.
Oh, okay. Well, we have Marcus Parrott from the
I know.
University of Tennessee. Yep, from Sumter, South Carolina. And we have a guy from NC State, Niles Clark, a defensive
See?
back.
Okay.
So, we have guys, guys come out. Root
There you go. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Oh, I'm good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as building on last season's success, and you have all these players that have come from Division I schools, are you worried at any point that these guys are going to eventually go into the NFL and you have to replenish that talent? Like, how do you feed that funnel? Like, as far as the recruiting process goes, is that an ongoing thing for you?
Yes, sir. We recruit year round, and I'm not concerned about that at all because that's what we're here for.
Right.
That's what we're here for, to develop the talent and get it out of here, to get those guys gone. I'm here to help them.
Well, I think that's one of the things, you take after Coach Rez a lot, right?
Right. Yes,
and
ma'am.
that was always one of his.
Right.
One of his players went to the Bears.
Right.
So
Malachi
right.
Jones, yeah, absolutely.
So grooming them up for that advancement, I think, is a big thing too, and us as fans.
Right.
If
Absolutely.
we're sitting here in the stands at Florence Center and we're seeing a player that's playing here this year, and next year he's sitting on the sidelines of an NFL team, you're like, that's my dude.
Right. Exactly.
So that, to Dennis's point, the recruitment has got to be a continual process for you guys.
Absolutely, it does. We're on the phone all day, every day. All day, every day. We recruit. We have that next guy up mentality. So, if a guy moves on, we have much faith in the guy that's behind him that he can step in, fill in, and do the job. So that's why we recruit. We recruit really well.
So the next game is Saturday, 1 week from today, March 23rd, Peach State Cats. I don't know anything about the Peach State Cats. I'm sure you've studied some game film. You know what this team's about. What is it about the Peach State Cats that we should be looking forward to coming up a week from today?
Well, I know they're coming to play, first and foremost. A guy that was on the coaching staff with us last year in Atlanta. He was one of my coaches, Coach Boo Williams. He's an SEC legend, so I know he's coming to, bring the heat.
But we're ready, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like, when you say they're ready to play, is this like one of those running teams? Is this going to be a heavy passing offense? Is this more of a defensive team? Like, what are the strengths to the Peach State Cats?
Well, Coach Boo is a receiver at heart, so they're going to throw the ball all over the place.
Okay.
So we know that, and they have a good quarterback coming out of, I think he played at Georgia State or it's Georgia Southern, so he's pretty good.
So what does that mean? The linebackers and the secondary is just going to be really tired at the end of the game?
No, we're built for that. Built for it.
We're built for that, right?
We're built for
right.
that.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about earlier is you guys run an 8-man, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you have 21 active players. So you're flipping 8 into the 21?
No, ma'am. Yes, we fit that 8 into the 21-man
Okay.
roster, but we have a 30-man roster total. So we carry 9 practice squad guys and 21 active roster guys. So
Okay, so they're not going to be as exhausted as what I'm thinking.
no, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
I was worried about that.
Yeah, you thought we only had 8 total?
Yes. So that was part of my learning process too. 'Cause,
Right.
I can be a football fan, and I've been a fan of AFL and AAL, but it's still a learning process. And I'm sure it is for a lot of our fans. It's going to be that way as well. So, as we continue to grow this team and educate our city on the sport, it's going to be great.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So, season tickets. There's still time for you to get a great deal on some tickets to check out the Carolina Havoc. Can you take us through that, Coach?
Season tickets, yes. Get a hold of Steve. He has all those numbers. I'm a football guy.
Yeah. Well, you can actually go online to Florence Center and buy them as
Right.
well and see the schedule. And I think it's also on y'all's website and Facebook.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's good. And there's some themed nights. So, like last night was high school.
High school night. Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
and then we have some other themed nights coming out throughout the season. I know we're doing one in May 11 to coincide with our Sister Strut event. So we're doing a breast cancer awareness game that night. So I'm super excited about that. We actually got some pink jerseys I think we're going to do a little fun with. So, yeah.
That'd be cool if, like, some of the players got to rock the pink socks and pink gloves and all that. Like,
Yes. So, and it's going to be, we're going to be auctioning off those jerseys for the funds to go back to the Cancer Relief Fund group.
See, that's
So it
pretty
ties
cool.
back to Sister Strut. And again, it's all part of the community. So as we've been developing this partnership with the Havoc and with the GM, Steve, and with Coach,
Yes,
we've
ma'am.
come up with some really great ideas to tie everything back together and just really boost what we're doing in our community.
And further, the Havoc, historically, you guys have done a lot of things with, like, youth, like in seasons past. I know that's been on your radar for this season as well.
Yes, sir.
What kinds of cool things are you guys doing in the community?
We actually have a lot of football camps lined up. We're going to have receiver camp, like a lot of position camps, like Rashard Carter is going to be having a wide receiver camp coming up soon. We're going to have Darryl Clark will be having a quarterback camp coming up soon. We have a lot going on. And they'll be in my hometown of Darlington, so something giving back to my city as well.
I like it. Well, and don't you guys do some reading with the school district? Are you
Yes,
guys
ma'am, we
working?
do.
Okay.
We do with Florence District 1 out in Savannah Grove, so we do a lot with that. We've been doing that ever since August, so we've been doing a reading program.
And I think it's great, too, for young people coming up in our community to have that tie to a professional football player and to a coach and that, reading and getting back to some of those fundamentals and doing that kind of stuff. So, well, I love that you
Absolutely.
guys do that. It's really
Thank
good.
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'm glad we can be there for the community.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, what's your favorite thing about being at home? I mean, not everybody gets to master their craft and do their job in their own hometown.
Right.
When you are home, like, what are some things that Coach Yarborough likes to do when you're not wearing the whistle around your neck and telling players how to improve their game? What do you do when you're not actually coaching?
I was spending time with my family, my wife, my kids, and but I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But when I'm home, here in Darlington, I actually like to hang out with my mom and my two younger sisters, Epiphany and Ashley, and my nephew Javion. So I do that and just hang around with my old friends, because I have a buddy who actually has a semi-pro football team in Darlington called the PD Vikings, James Charles, and they're really successful as well. They just won nationals. So
Yeah, we worked
shout
with
out
them
to
a
the
little
PD
bit last
Vikings.
year. Those guys are some great guys as well.
I didn't realize that they were a championship team as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we did some promotion with them last year. Vikings been a great team around.
right, they were a great partner with us, and it seems like every team that we partner with, their championship team.
It must be us.
Right.
Can I take credit for this?
Absolutely. So we
Okay.
have to keep up this partnership.
That's
then.
right. You got iHeart football. Okay.
And the guy James Charles, the head coach, has actually been my best friend since we were 6 years old.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
we have a really close relationship. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any weird game day rituals
For
from the
me,
players? You know what I mean? Like,
players, yeah.
like socks inside out. I mean, are they doing anything crazy to
All
just to
kind
get
of
the
stuff.
good, juju going for the game?
Right, all kind of stuff, but I can't reveal their secret. So, I have to kind of keep it as locker room stuff.
You're going to have to tell me on the DL. 'Cause I got to know.
All right,
I got you.
In your playing days, did you have any superstitions that you had individually?
Absolutely. I had this crazy superstition. If I had a great game the week before, whatever I wore the week before, I wear it the very next week. So that was kind of like my only little thing. So.
I love that, though. We have on our AM station, we have sports talk over there, and that's one of the things I'm always interested in is what players are superstitious about.
Right.
Are they wearing the same? So I've known players to paint their toenails.
Oh no. Absolutely not.
things like that. So it's crazy,
doing that.
but, you know, whatever you got to do to win the game.
To each his own.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're wearing the same socks from the game prior without washing them, you're probably living in Febreze.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We hope.
But,
we hope you are.
But that's hey, but whatever it takes to get the W, the win.
Right.
It's all about the win.
Right.
So after last night's game, it's all about now the Peach State Cats. Say that 5 times
No,
fast.
I'm assuming that's a Georgia team. That was my
Absolutely.
only go-to. So I didn't research them because I want your expertise on that team.
Well, they're from Athens, Georgia. Like I said, the general manager, Coach Boo Williams, he was actually one of the coaches on the coaching staff with us last year. So I think their owner is Tim Freeman. He's a really good guy. They're a pretty good organization. They actually have a couple of the players that we didn't re-sign from the team last year. So we know they're talented. So, but they didn't play last week, so we don't have any game film on them. So we just have to do what we do.
You know, that's something that's unique about NFL versus all the other football organizations, and that is that NFL, they have a preseason. I don't know of anyone else that has a preseason.
Yeah, we go straight hard, right?
you know,
it's
We go straight
gates
from-
open, game
from
on.
training camp to week 1.
Yeah.
So you don't really have a chance to set your roster and kind of do some experimental stuff. I mean, you're out of the gate, going from like 0 to 100.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I guess, how do you make those adjustments? Do you just kind of work them really, really hard in practice? Or is it, I mean, how do you, out of the gate, say this is going to be our lineup, this is it? And do you feel pressure from that?
No, not at all, because I just have full faith in the 2-1 that we're addressing, because I know we have the best talent out there possible.
There we go.
So I know every week we step on the field like we're the hunters.
There you go.
Never the hunted. So.
Got the confidence and a swagger of a gangster. I
I'm
love
loving
it.
that. I love that. All right, Coach. So remind everybody what time to be there Saturday for the game.
7:05.
7:05 is kickoff, and we are playing what team, Dennis?
Peach State Cats. Now, listen, get your merchandise too. The Carolina Havoc, they have all kinds of tempting Carolina Havoc swag that you can buy.
Right.
So whether it's a jersey, hat, or whatever, are the players approachable? Can they get autographs? Do the kids get autographs and all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Selfies.
Yes, ma'am. After the game, we'll be on the field available for everybody. So.
All right, go Havoc.
All right, so once again, get your tickets now. Florence Center box office, Ticketmaster.com, CarolinaHavoc.com. You can log on and purchase your tickets there and get a great deal on one of the hottest teams right here in the PD region. It's the Carolina Havoc. You're listening to the Coach's Show. Coach Yarborough, thank you so much for carving out the time with us this morning, and I look forward to seeing you right here next weekend, right here with the Coach's Show.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks.